Want to know how I grew my Instagram to 180,000 followers? Well, I've been on Instagram for 10 years now, and trust me, growth has not been linear and there's no magic formula. I'm Omar, I'm an artist, illustrator and author. I want to share with you how my journey unfolded from those early days. I'll also be sharing 6 crucial mistakes that I made along the way and how you can avoid them. Whether you're just starting out or feeling stuck in your growth, these lessons might be what you need. There have been constant changes in the algorithm, setbacks and moments where I thought of leaving the platform. However, I have stuck with it and I've been showing up consistently even when things weren't perfect. Back in 2014, I was a stay-at-home mother with 2 very young kids trying to restart my illustration career after an 8-year break. I was juggling school runs, bedtime routines and trying to build a food illustration portfolio, all from my desk in a home office that I shared with my then husband. To say life was chaotic would be an understatement. I just want to point out, back then I did not know how to use watercolours at all. So if you scroll all the way back to those first posts, which I actually did do, especially for this video, and it took me 16 minutes to scroll all the way back to that first post, you will find a really rough brush pen sketches of whatever fruit and vegetables I could get my hands on at the time. I didn't even know how to take proper screenshots. Trust me, it was a lot harder in 2014, but that's where it all started. My work wasn't polished or perfect, but it was mine, and we all have to start somewhere. I think it's really important for you to see those early pieces because they really were incredibly messy and unpolished, but they were real. They weren't designed to impress anybody. They were just for me. I was learning and figuring things out. In early 2015, I made my first attempt at a Moleskine sketchbook page. And let me tell you, that watercolour did not go well. I was so disappointed with my skill level at the time that I didn't pick up that sketchbook again for weeks, probably months. However, by the middle of 2015, my marriage was failing and I had 2 really young kids, so I just needed space away from all that noise. So I started sketching whatever I saw around the house, from cans of tomatoes to pot plants, and I would share the good, the bad and the really overworked sketches on Instagram. And I think people really appreciated that I was trying and sharing some pretty mediocre art, but I was also growing. Gradually, I pushed myself further by undertaking several 30-day challenges, joined in with Inktober and then set a goal for a 100-day project. Eventually, I did commit to a full 365-day art challenge. Even in the midst of a divorce and when I had pneumonia, I would just doodle little things or geometrics in my sketchbook and I would just call it done. In my eyes, I was still showing up for my watercolour practice. And through the highs and the lows, those sketchbooks kept me grounded and sane. Now in those days, Instagram was a lot simpler. It was just one static photo at a time, posted in a chronological feed. So you'd scroll through your feed and the newest post would appear at the top, and that was it. So fast forward to today and Instagram has completely changed. With the introduction of an ever-changing algorithm, it seems, stories, reels and trending music, it has become so much more complex. And because it's always shifting, it is incredibly frustrating, even for me. We've all felt that pressure to create perfectly polished content for Instagram, and it's so easy to get caught up in the idea that everything has to be flawless. But honestly, the real magic happens in the rough edges and the honest, behind the scenes process, and that's what makes art feel human and relatable. The constant changes in the algorithm have reshaped what we see online, and I have noticed creators becoming more hesitant to share those messy parts, those imperfect sketches. I get it, it is hard to put yourself out there when everything feels like it needs to be perfect, or you even need to have a style before you begin. But trust me, people connect with the real you, the ups and the downs, the wins and the failures. Looking back on those changes, I've learned a lot about what holds creators back, and there are a few key mistakes that, if you can avoid it, can help you stay true to your creative journey and build meaningful connections with your audience. So stick around, because in the next few minutes I'm going to walk you through 6 mistakes to steer clear of, and at the very end I'll show you what my growth looked like in real numbers. If you're finding this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share your past Instagram struggles in the comments as a creative. And don't forget to subscribe so I can keep bringing you more helpful content in future. Lesson number 1. Embrace imperfect art. Here's the lesson that I have learned. Show your mess. People connect with authenticity. They want to see the rough drafts, the experiments and the mistakes, not just that polished final piece. Now I realise that the messy part is where the magic happens in a creative process. At the moment, one of the best ways to share your process on Instagram is through a carousel post. So show your value studies or your colour tests, as well as that final piece. And it lets people see how your work evolves layer by layer, stage by stage. Don't be afraid to show the messy process, and that is what makes you real and relatable. Mistake number 2. Do not underestimate consistency. In 2016, I committed to a 365-day challenge. I didn't know it at the time, but that decision would change everything. I wasn't chasing likes or trying to beat the algorithm. I was simply showing up every day and doing the work. It wasn't easy, but it became my anchor in a time of chaos when I was going through a divorce. Consistency doesn't mean you post a perfect piece of work every time. It means showing up enough so that people start to expect to see you on Instagram. When you consistently share your process, no matter how imperfect it is, it builds up trust and that connection. And trust is what matters more than any like or follow. Trust me. Skillshare has kindly sponsored this video, and if you didn't know already, I'm a top teacher on the platform. Skillshare is an amazing online learning community with thousands of creative classes ranging from illustration, graphic design and photography. One of my most popular classes is Organic Expressive Florals, where I guide you step by step to paint loose watercolour florals with essential ink details. Students can upload their projects, and I love giving feedback to help you grow. Plus, you can check out other inspiring classes by some of my teacher friends who share their expertise, including Mimi Chow with foundational drawing, Lisa Bardot with 20 fun Procreate projects, and Mike Lowry's class about keeping a daily sketchbook. I'm really thrilled to share that the first 500 people who click the link in the description below will get a free month of Skillshare. So dive in, discover new skills, and have fun creating. Get started today. Mistake number 3. Your Instagram bio is more important than you might think. It is the first thing that people see when they visit your profile, and you only have about 7 seconds to make a good impression. So be careful how you word it, as it is actually prime real estate. Think of your bio as your digital elevator pitch: who you are, what you do, and why someone should follow you. First of all, in the name field, add relevant keywords like illustrator or author or abstract artist to help people find you when they're searching. This part of the bio is where you have 150 characters to tell people who you are and what you do. Your bio is also searchable, so use keywords to help people find you. Make it clear, concise and compelling. Add a touch of personality to let people know what makes your art unique, such as artists specialising in botanical illustration. This simple step can really increase your chances of being discovered by the right audience. Also, I think a clear photo of yourself can make your page feel a lot more personal and approachable. People are more likely to engage with a profile that feels human. 4th mistake. Engagement isn't just about likes. Likes, heart emojis, smiley faces are nice, but they are not real engagement. True engagement is about building genuine connections. I've learned this the hard way. In the beginning, I thought leaving a quick thumbs up emoji or a simple thank you very much was enough, but it's not. If you want to build a loyal community, you need to go deeper. You need to think about thoughtful comments, ask meaningful questions, and start real conversations to show that you care. That's how you foster connections that will last. When I first started sharing my work, the comments that meant the most to me were the ones where people asked about my process or shared how my art inspired them. Those people who were really interested in me. And I made sure to take the time to respond thoughtfully, showing that I had genuinely read and considered their message. And over time, this built trust and connection. Fifth mistake, creating for validation. Now, I used to fall into the trap of posting what I thought would get the most likes. Yes, even I did that. So I would basically be creating for validation and not myself. I remember posting a piece that I wasn't terribly excited about, but it was trendy. And sure, it got likes, but it didn't leave me feeling fulfilled. And here's what I've learned. You need to create for yourself as a creative person. It's easy to fall into the trap of playing it safe, but the pieces that push me outside of my comfort zone, they probably didn't perform that well, and in terms of likes, probably very low, but they did teach me so much more about being a creative and discovering more about my art. So stop chasing likes and focus on the joy of creation. I think you'll grow more both as an artist and a person. The final mistake I want to talk about is comparing your metrics to someone else's. When I first started on Instagram, it took me almost 5 years to hit 100,000 followers. And during that time, I saw creators who grew much faster than me. It was really easy to question myself and wonder why my growth was slower. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. Please don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. We are all on different parts of the same path. Some creators are ahead of you because they've had slightly different experiences. However, your journey is yours and it is still valid. So instead of comparing your numbers to someone else's, focus on your own progress. Celebrate every milestone, no matter how small. Success isn't about how quickly you grow. It's about improving your craft and building something that is true to you. Now, I'm going to share some numbers and dates that chart my growth over the last 10 years. Although it does get a little bit vague after 100,000 followers, but I think you're going to get the picture. Luckily, I've been able to track my follower growth over the years by creating little celebration posts on Instagram for the milestones from 500 to 5,000 followers. I'm going to show you the first chart, which focuses on the first 2 years of my time on Instagram. Growth was small back then, and you can see my humble beginnings in September 2014, taking nearly a year to reach 5,000 followers. But things picked up quickly. From October 2015 to May 2016, I grew to 40,000 followers. Now let's move on to the next slide. I had 50,000 followers by August 2016, 70,000 by December 2016, 80,000 by March 2017, and then in January 2018 I reached 100,000 followers. After that, I just stopped making celebration posts because it just felt a bit like vanity metrics. Thankfully, I do have a few screenshot references, and I had 150,000 followers by September 2023 and 183,000 followers in April 2024, and I'm very likely to hit 190 followers by the end of this year, which is 2024. So did reaching 100,000 followers change my life? Well, yes and no. Like many of you, I would get caught up in that vicious cycle of relentless content creation. It felt never ending, and honestly, I had to step away for months at a time sometimes. Hitting that milestone was a big moment, but it wasn't the end of the story. The real change came from staying consistent and evolving my approach. And now I just paint what the heck I want. I mean, how many sketchbook artists get excited about onions and carrots? There is a YouTube video about painting those, by the way. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope these insights help you avoid some of the mistakes I made with Instagram and inspire you to share your own journey. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about showing up, growing and connecting. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and let me know if you want to hear more about my thoughts on Instagram. Your feedback helps me to create content that is useful for you. Keep creating, stay true to yourself and stay amazing. Bye for now. Oh, it's like having a furry little animal on my chest.